well. And I'd like to turn it over to Travis, which will be conducting the CE presentation.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
So how's everybody?
Good.
Great. I'll just get this loaded up here. So as Yoni mentioned, my name is Travis. I represent Neolith here in North America. I have to apologize because I'm Canadian, so you'll hear a lot of aboots and don't you knows and A's, and so just roll with it. The more you drink, the funnier it gets. Just to clarify, this is AIA and ASID accredited, so those of you that are, don't drop the camera. Those of you that are AIA or ASID, you'll get your learning credits. So I think we only have the AIA sign-up sheet. So if you just sign up on that, we'll know the differences. Also, those of you that aren't AIA or ASID, you can also get a certificate just saying for completion. So if you want to feel good about yourself and mount it on the wall and remember that time you listened to that awesome Neolith presentation, you can get a certificate too. Yeah?
Yes, what about NKA?
The who?
NKA, National Tobacco Association.
If I can get a business card, I can definitely get it certified.
Next month on, we will be also members of the NKA, so yes, so that will be also.
Yeah, if you're worried about accreditations, Mara will be the one to talk to because she's the one that will relay that information to the everybody else. I will do my 1 hour of nonstop talking, and then my brain just shuts down, and I go right to the bar. So don't even bother trying to ask me anything. What we're going to do is we're going to go through the presentation. I'm going to try to make it as entertaining as we can. These guys here in the back are going to move me around if they need to film me from certain angles, no pressure. And then we're going to go outside. We're going to look at some of the slabs. We're going to do some cheap salesman tricks. And that'll give the guys here the chance to get the chairs out of here. And then we can have a few drinks and a bite to eat and do what we're really here for, right? So, again, this is an educational program for sintered compact surfaces. It's a new product that you guys are going to find very interesting and very exciting, mainly because of the performance and the quality of the product. Take your photographs now, so when you want to file your complaints, that's my information there. And that's that whole, I went quick there, right? So as mentioned, I just have to do the AIA does not necessarily endorse these products or what I'm saying, just the fact that this is an educational program on our product based on the ISFA. So at the end of this course, you will be able to identify the different types of sintered products, what their uses are, recognize the important characteristics and performances of these products, their applications, and how these performances apply to why you're going to want to use them. Just really quick too, if you guys have questions, normally I say just ask them away, but there's a lot of people here, so just lift your hands, don't worry about interrupting me, I don't mind. Also too, if you want to get up and get a drink, it doesn't bother me whatsoever. See, there you go.
First taker.
So I just want to make sure this is working properly. Okay, so our bread and butter industry is the interior surfacing market, why lots of you guys are here. Countertops, floors, interior walls. But we're also going to talk today, especially towards the end, about exterior cladding. I know that might not apply to a lot of you, but as somebody who comes from the cladding industry, there's a really neat element to this product that's really new, and that's the fact that this product is ageless. Because of the process of atomic diffusion of making this product, and I know I'm getting too nerdy too quick, it's the first product that I've ever represented in the exterior cladding industry as being essentially ageless. So you put it on the outside of your building and it's going to be there forever. And believe it or not, you can't even say that about stone. So sintering is a process of combining just the base ingredients, which is ceramic and metal powders, through a process called atomic diffusion. Atomic diffusion is a real scientific way of me sounding smart, of just saying basically what the earth does to make crystals. So it uses heat and compression through a process over time, and we just eliminate that time through an engineered process to create a sintered product. So the first thing it does is it goes through a giant press, and the materials get binded all together. So the analogy that I just learned today was basically taking sugar and turning it into candy. They're the same ingredients, different properties. It compresses all those ingredients and makes them really, really bonded together. After that, we heat up the material to about 3,000 degrees, and then they go through the sintering process where they bind really, really close together. Why this is important is because this is why these products have a near zero water absorption rate, why you can spill your red wine all over it, and that's not the real test, by the way. If you want to test it, please do it on the stone countertops here. All the Omni guys will really love that. Is if you mix mineral oil and a dye and put that on the surface, that'll really test how porous it is. So the really important thing here is this product is just the base minerals. So it's only the quartz, the feldspar, the silica, the kaolin, which we use to make white, and the natural pigments. And why that's important, no resins, no binders, no off-gassing, no discoloration when you want to put it outside, no staining, so on and so forth. There's only 4 main manufacturers of this in the world because it's about $500 million to just to turn the lights on. So it's very limited in where you can get these products. And our product is based out of Castellón, Spain region, which is right in between Barcelona and Valencia. It's a very beautiful area, so give us a huge, like 60,000 square foot job, and we'll take you down, and you can eat clementines and drink Spanish wine.
Paella, Valencia.
Oh, and paella. That'll change your life. You won't go home to your wives or your husbands after you eat paella. So anyways, all that makes is a very, very high-performing product. Every manufacturer has their different sizes. Our sizes is 4 by 12 and 5 by 10. So very big, and that's what we take a lot of pride in is we understand that the real market to be in, and we lucked out really well because again, your economy's starting to boom again. So we've conformed to imperial sizing. So we have 5 foot by 10, which the interior designers will know is great because you can cut 2 countertops out of 1 slab, and 4 by 12, which we use for the interiors and the floors. And our thicknesses are 1/4 of an inch, 1/8 of an inch, and 1/2 an inch. Everybody with me so far? So anyways, we talked about the science of the product. And what that's going to do is give you a product that's incredibly dense. Now is when we do the cheap salesman trick, where you see where if you take like an ordinary screwdriver, if I was to do this to the stone here, I'd probably scratch it. So if you just drag it, it's not a nice sound, but you can see that it doesn't scratch. That'd be pretty boring if that was the climax, right? So that's a little better, right? Okay, and all you're going to see if you do see any marks there, that's just the residue from my screwdriver that I just completely ruined. So I'm going to do that one more time just for the camera guys and for my own fun. It's the only fun I get to have, right? Pretty cool, eh? You can come up and look at it after. It leaves marks from the screwdriver, like I said. And that's it, everybody. Let's have fun. If only my job was that easy. Am I on here? There we go. I haven't used my laser yet. Makes me feel like I'm having fun. So anyways, fun aside, the product is, again, just the base minerals. So it's an all completely natural product. There's no resins, there's no binders, there's no off-gassing. There's nothing chemical in it that you're going to feel bad about later. So meaning that any waste that you use from the job site can go right in as aggregate, can go in normal garbage, and not have to worry again about throwing out chemicals or using something that you don't feel good about.
If it's that hard and that density, how do you dispose of it? Is it just in sheet form, or can it be?
Just in sheet form, and you can bust it up, bang it against the floor, and bang it up and throw it in the garbage.
And it won't break.
It will break. I mean, I'm going to song and dance about how indestructible the product is, but at some point it is going to break. Thought you're lifting your hand, just kind of showing the guns. No? Lost my point here. Okay, so again, with that density comes a near zero water absorption rate, and just to put that to relativity, 0.09 is the same as glass. So that's about as impervious as you're ever going to get. I hit my hand really good on that. It doesn't feel good. So I'm just here to give you guys the information about the product. You're going to see some pretty pictures, and it's you guys that are going to decide how to use this. My true desire, especially here in North America, where I've seen a lot of really neat new things, is to feel like I'm just putting a tool in your guys' toolbox, and you guys are the ones that are going to decide the new applications for this and how to use it. Because in my opinion, it's universal. Floors, walls, countertops, building facades, you name it. We can do amazing things with this huge sheet product. And it's the performance of that. So the product is lightweight, coming at an 1/8 of an inch or about a pound, a little over a pound per square foot. So extremely lightweight. Scratch and abrasive resistant, as we saw. High heat and flame resistant. We talk about that lots because, again, the countertop industry, where you want to have it really close to the burners, not worry about it getting damaged. Waterproof, freeze-thaw stable for building exteriors. Hygienic, easy to clean. 100% natural, recyclable, and UV. So we're lightweight because of the thicknesses. Your 1/8 of an inch is going to be for your millwork resurfacing, for your condo lobbies, the wall applications. Your 1/4 of an inch is going to be for your flooring, for your exterior cladding, and your 1/2 inch is going to be for your countertops. And we'll see some more pictures and get a little bit more in depth in that.
Is it possible to do a build-up with the 1/2 inch material?
To do even thicker?
Yeah.
Yeah, we offer laminated thicknesses, so you can do 2 pieces of 1/2 inch together. And that's important when you're doing, say, an inlay in a glass partition wall, and you want it to be finished on both sides. So you can do a finished product on both sides of the material. That answer your question?
Yes.
That's a long answer to a short question, eh? So this is my favorite because I have exactly this surface, which is the sample that I was using, on my island in my kitchen. And a lot of my friends now that I've made this transition to this job ask what I do for a living now. So I literally take my kitchen knife and bang it across the countertop and shoot the sparks. But the not so funny part is I'm using my own kitchen utensils until I recently learned that I can just take my damaged knife now on the miter of the countertop and resharpen the knife. Yeah.
But this doesn't replace any high-end product that you're seeing around the show. Honestly.
Yes.
In other words, this is not going to come in a 3/4 inch or an 1.5 inch slab of marble.
Correct.
And it's not going to replace any high-end job that a designer wants to do.
No, absolutely. And stone will always have its place. Quartz will always have its place. Like again, we're just sort of representing a product that we have stand behind, that we have a lot of faith about, and it's up to you guys to decide how and where you're going to use it.
In other words, this looks sort of like soapstone when you look at it closely. At least that's what I quickly looked at.
It depends. There's a whole slew of finishes. I mean, all these countertops that you see on here, these are all our material that look like Calicut marble.
Right?
Yeah.
You
So
might,
this is it?
Yeah.
But how has it been laminated? Was it
It's been mitered, so it's been cut on a miter and then brought together with epoxy and then chamfered and polished.
where are the seams 1/2 inch thicker?
You're looking at it. We'll get there.
I'm just curious.
I'll show you when we get there. I've got the slides there.
This is a miter, it's a miter.
Sorry, in the green shirt, can you pass me that piece right behind you? So just so everybody can hear the answer to this, this is how it's done. So you can create any thickness that you want to see. So basically, on the bridge saw, we miter the material, we epoxy it together, and then they chamfer and polish the edge. So you can make it as deep as you want.
Can you use standard stone cutting saws and blades for this material?
Correct. There's some slight modifications. You have to use a continuous porcelain blade. The speed changes on your bridge saws than cutting normal stone, just like any other stone, and that's about it, really. And we have technical assistance that we offer to the manufacturers that are interested in getting certified, where we'll have someone come down that'll take material, work with you and your own equipment, and show you how to use it with our material. Yep.
Most of the quartz material is not resistant to heat and fire, so what makes yours different so that it is high heat and fire resistant?
No resin.
No resin. No resin, no binders. You're basically it's just feldspar and quartz.
How does it react to thermal shock?
With thermal shock, that's very important. That's very important to me. A, because I'm Canadian, and B, because I specialize in cladding. So to not get too overboard, Because of its base ingredients and its simple composition, it has a very low coefficient of linear expansion, meaning that it doesn't change very much. And the best way I usually like to describe that is doing this sort of thing, but everybody doesn't let me do the fire indoors anymore. And what I don't do it in the bowl, I do it right on the countertop. So what I do really quickly is I take a blowtorch, I cook it on the countertop, and I blowtorch it and I cook it, and I flip it and I pass it to somebody else, and then I put my hand immediately right where that flame just was. And for something to have a low coefficient of linear expansion is because of its displacement of heat. Yep.
Can you use the polished on a shower floor?
Can you use the polished on a shower floor?
The coefficient of friction when it's wet.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily the greatest with flooring.
The polish is not in a wet area. Correct. You can use it for flooring, but not in high traffic or bathroom.
Sure.
You can, but you have to have a high liability insurance. That's all.
Applications that you can do to the material to build up the coefficient of friction. But most of our materials do match that ASTM test so that you can use it for areas where you worry about that.
Your fabricators have to get certified like they did in the old days for Corian and stuff, like.
Correct. Yeah.
When you use it as flooring, can you put the material up against each other and does it take any special glue to put it down, or is it just standard industry stuff?
Sorry, I didn't hear that very good.
When you put it down as flooring,
Yeah.
do you butt it up against each other? Do you have to have a grout? And can you use a standard glue to glue it down?
You can have a grout up to 2 millimeters, and you would use just
Thinset.
Yeah.
It's like a regular porcelain.
exactly.
Recommended is thinset with a latex fortified.
Yeah. Guys, these are all really good questions, but sorry to be a pain, but I'm going to try to hold you guys off to the end, just because we want to record some of these questions, if you guys don't mind. So if you don't want to be recorded, don't ask your questions. But come up and ask us afterwards, but immediately after we'll do questions, because again, these are the real questions that fabricators and customers and architects and designers have, and we want to be able to address that openly to as many people as possible. So being able to put that up on our website and in YouTube will give us a better access to do that. So if you guys don't mind, we'll do that. If not, ask questions anyways. I don't make the rules. So like we talked about, practically impervious to anything, so you can spill your red wine on it, you can spill your oil on it and not have to worry about it. Freeze-thaw stable. And again, all these performances, I can stand up here and be completely lying and you guys would not know the difference until the fact that we back this up with both international standard testing and ASTM testing. And furthermore, if you guys even go into Canada, we back it up with CAN ULC as well too. I think right now this product where it's most underutilized is in the healthcare industry because again, I've done very little in the healthcare industry to date, and this is a product that's again practically impervious to porosity. So you're not going to have any issues with hygiene where they have to be sealed or they have to be certified again and again, year and a year in hospital applications. So I'd just love to see more of that. Very easy to clean, chemical resistant. No organics, no off-gassing. No organics basically just means that there's no organic compounds that are going to break down over time. It's not going to naturally degrade just like anything else would that's organic. And it's not going to off-gas because there's no chemical composition to it. And 100% recyclable as an aggregate. Also to note too, I'm not perfect on the numbers, but I believe our minimum recycled content is
From 54%.
from 54%. So it's a product you can feel good about. Personally, as a millennial and somebody that wants to be a part of things that are new, that I think are revolutionary and that are good for the planet and for all of us, feldspar, silica, quartz, these are the most readily available minerals on the earth. And now we're making some of the most high-end engineered products out of it. UV resistant, and again, we've done the ASTM 30-year accelerated UV testing, and there's zero change in color and tone. I personally have been selling exterior cladding products for about 10 years, and that's everything from hardy, fiber cement, phenolics, metal panels, you name it. I've never, ever, ever been able to claim for a product to be ageless, other than glass, which is translucent. Can anybody think of one? The streak continues. Yes. Someone's going to call me out on it one day, and I'll be like, oh, never thought of that. So again, these are the sort of properties that our product offers that I think offers a unique opportunity for you to use a product that you can feel good about and you know is going to perform very well. And obviously, in my opinion, is very, very beautiful. And just to speak to some of the Class Stone series here, and I'll embarrass Mar a little bit, the owners of this company used to be the owners of the Levantino Group, which some of you might know is one of the largest stone supplier companies in the world. Pardon me?
What's the
Levantino?
largest what?
Levantina?
Levantina.
Levantina.
One of the largest what suppliers?
Stone suppliers, the right way I'm saying it. And they sold the company in 2008 to invest into this company and promote it. So when you have guys that are not just guys, families that are stone backgrounds, and they invest in this, and they literally shut the doors down for a year until they perfected the finishes exactly the way they want to see them. So when we go in the back here, you're going to see, hopefully, if they set it up right, the Calicut right beside the actual Calicut. And I've got no shame in saying ours is just as good, if not better. And as somebody, again, who likes engineered products, it's better. Because unlike natural stone, I can give you exactly the slab you're looking for, not have to go over to this one at the right price point. I can give you pieces that not only book match side to side, but book match end to end. So just some of our other little side certifications. We've got the Green Guard for indoor air quality, meaning because, again, there's no emissions on the product. It's safe for sensitive individuals like children and the elderly because, again, no off-gassing. I know you guys are getting sick of this, hearing the same thing over and over again. When do we get to the wine? Again, we offer certification protocols and processes, and you can talk to any one of us about that, about scheduling that and getting certified. And I recommend talking with Yoni or Rachel or Brett back here, and they'll be able to talk to you guys about getting certified, getting showroom material, and demonstrating the product. Because again, it's all with the product that you guys, the equipment you guys work with. So again, very similar to all the stone. Only difference mainly is that you're using a continuous porcelain blade rather than using any other type of saw, and it's a slower speed because the material is so dense. Also works well with routers and water jets, and a lot of the fabricators actually really enjoy working with it because, again, it's an engineered product, so it's consistent. You're not going to have weak points or fissures in the material. You're going to have a consistent performance of the product all the way through. And furthermore, as somebody who comes from the cladding industry and use 6mm or 1/4 of an inch, that can be manipulated right on site on the project with a rail and a glass cutter and scored and cracked just like drywall. And I'll show you some pictures here. That'll blow your mind when I get there. There is a lot to learn, though. There is things about it when it comes to learning about the product. Do you have a sample of the 6mm with the mesh in the back? Oh, I got it here. So the only thing really important to remember, again, is ceramic is going to be brittle by nature, right? Just like concrete. It's not weak just because it's brittle. We use concrete to do everything, and it's one of the most weakest products in the world in tension, meaning that it's really strong when I push it together, but it's really weak if I try to pull it apart. We solve that by putting steel in a concrete floor. Right? All of a sudden now we can build giant high-rises out of it in condominium buildings. It's the same thing with this material. We embed a non-combustible fiber mesh in the back. That's what gives it its tensile strength, allowing it to try to be pulled apart. The salesman trick of it is we take a big sheet, we lift it up end to end, and it's got a 6-meter bending radius. Right? So it's easy for the guys in the plants to work with, but what they have to know is only the mesh can be in tension. As soon as we flip that slab upside down and pick it up, crack. Right? Because now the surface is in tension, not the mesh. Everybody sort of with me on that? And it's just those little nuances that work. The different tools, the suction cups, again, it's a lot like working with glass. So can I get water from somebody, if possible?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
With the mesh, you have resins to hold that to the stone, right?
Pardon me?
With the mesh, you have resins to hold it to the stone.
Yeah, there is an epoxy to hold the mesh in place. Thank you. So this is a prime example here of how we do the V-groove, our miter folded edge. That allows you to go as deep as you want to go. So first it's cut on the bridge saw, you do your miter cut, you epoxy the two pieces together, and then you polish the edge and make it as deep as you want to see it. I'm not going to get too in-depth in this, again, because I'm not necessarily a kitchen and bath specialist, but we've got tons of technical information, and I take a lot of pride in the fact that Mar and the marketing team have put together really beautiful technical guides on how to work with the material, how to do the overhangs, what the maximum spans are, so on and so forth. Unfortunately, if you do cladding, you got to rely on me, not our books. So now we start to get to the pretty pictures point, and you can see just how beautiful this product is in application. Oh, that's not. We do fireplaces in it, and outdoor fireplaces, again, because it can handle that huge coefficient of expansion.
How do you do your sinks? I saw a picture there.
So you can do just about anything. I'm just going to get to it and come back. But since you asked. Did I? No, that's not the good one, though.
There's another one. There's another one.
Yeah. So I'll get lost here. So I just saw it. There you go. So we do pre-manufactured from the plant under-mounted sinks. And trust me, you've never seen a nicer sink. It's hard to see here, but these are actually 4 diagonal pieces coming together. And even in front of your face, you can barely see the seam. And it's very presentable. It's put together really good. They come in really nice wood crates. They're beautiful. All different sizes, shapes, formats.
Do they match every color or just certain colors?
Every single color now, right? Okay. Yeah. Including our onyx and our Calcutta and everything.
What is your
But if you wanted to use a stainless steel sink, you could. Doesn't have to be a matching sink.
And that is correct, yeah.
What is your warranty on that material defect? What is it?
The warranty on material defect for interior use?
There's a warranty for kitchen countertops, which is 15 years. 15 years. Manufacturing warranty for countertops, residential countertops. All the information is available in the website, so you will get there everything that covers that warranty.
Thank you.
Yeah. And again, they're insured warranties, so they just go to industry standard because, again, it's a warranty that we pay for because it's insured through an insurance company like AIG. It's going to far exceed that performance. So fireplaces, like we talked about, again, right inside the fireplace. You don't have to worry about it cracking, and you don't even have to worry about it melting or anything else that you might have to work on. This is impressive to me. This is the white right under the burners. So, I mean, I don't know what else you could do that with. There's another example of the undermount sink there.
Excuse me, can it be fused together or it's not, the undermount sink, you'll see the same, or can it be fused?
Like integrated.
Like one,
You can. You could technically make the sink as part of the countertop, could you not?
You can, yeah, but it's not fused. It's a sink, right?
seam,
It'll be seamed, yeah. It'll be 2 pieces brought together.
Yeah, epoxy.
not.
Epoxied.
But not bumped out, or it'll be like equal.
It'll be equal, exactly. Yeah.
I'd like to see this.
Yeah. So again, here's a great example of how thick you can make it look, knowing that we know. So here's the sort of European half-inch edge. I know we don't do that a lot here in North America, but you can literally just polish the edge and have that nice thin European profile. Or again, you can do a mitered edge and make it as deep as you want to see it.
Can you do more traditional edges or just not
You can.
suitable for this?
Not necessarily. It depends. There's some that are, there's some that aren't. This is a little bit more of a rounded edge that you can see here. We do knife edges, which is a really nice table that we have on display in Spain, where the material is 1/2 inch thick, but it looks like it's like a millimeter thick because it's a nice knife cut on it. Again, it's not only just to what your designers can do, it's what these fabricators can do too. They're the ones with the tools that are really going to determine how it can be manipulated. When we do things, especially for our showrooms and our trade show displays, we're usually mimicking what we've seen fabricators do in the field. We just make slabs. This is always a very impressive thing when we're able to close up a lobby floor or a floor for a client. A lot of times I understand, especially with architects and designers, it's hard to take a chance on a product that you've never used before. So we like to support you guys in doing what we can to promote it to your clients, because in turn, I'm going to sell the product to you and you're going to have to sell it to your client. So what we do with architects a lot and people with design firms, we'll do a nice kitchenette in there so they can come in and do the screwdriver themselves when they're cooking their bagel in the morning. But also too, once they've purchased the product, we love closing up a floor really quick. So you have your client come in the day before and inspect the staircase or something like that, ask them to come in the next day and the floor is already done in one shot. The installers are going to be like, don't you do that to me.
What do you set the floor with? Thin set underneath?
Thin set, yeah. We have an application for just about every single supplier, so Ardex, Latacrete, you name it. And they now have formulated very specific thin sets for these large format products. You guys got a little bit of white here in southern Florida. And again, I love this product because I do it a lot for exteriors, and just like interiors, I got asked all the time when I was doing lots of fiber cement and stuff was, what can I do with white? What doesn't absorb air pollutants and sulfur and minerals from the ocean? And this is the only one other than glass. And those of you that are AIA, it is NFPA 285 compliant, so it is basically acceptable for unlimited use for as high as you want to go, because it's a complete non-combustible system and product.
Is this harder than glass, or is it about?
It's harder than glass.
So even the
absolutely harder than glass.
From the beach sand hitting it won't etch like it did on the glass?
Not at all. I believe it's an 8 on the Morse scale,
oh, okay.
So that's just right below a diamond. I was recently at the Toronto Transit Commission, wanted to do their own independent maintenance testing so they could determine how long this product would last. And they did that. They threw sandblasting at it, epoxies, paints, you name it. They even took, I don't know if you guys have ever seen it, but an oscillating tip pressure washer. So that's a pressure washer that's attached to like a big 9 horsepower engine, and the tip oscillates, and if it goes in front of your hand, it'll cut your hand in half. They use it because when you form concrete, you use oils to separate the form from the concrete, but you can't paint over that oil. So you use these high pressure washers to remove that oil. They were taking epoxy and Sharpie ink even right off the slab, when normally that would eat right through concrete. For those of you wondering too about custom colors and finishes, we can do custom finishes for orders at about 30,000 square feet. Those are for more of you that are more looking for exteriors. A perfect example right now is we're working with the Smithsonian in Washington, D.C. They did the Air and Space Museum. And it's a good sell because cinder ceramic is actually what's on the nose of the space shuttle. So just to put an example of how strong that is. And they have 200,000 square feet of Tennessee pink that's all cupping. So you've got 2 cm thick stone that's got a kerf cut holding it in place, and the stone's kind of cupping. And you know Murphy's Law that that's going to fall off and hit some kid, and you know, it's horrible. So we're looking at it now, and we're going to do about 4 or 5 different slabs and then cut those slabs into different panels to mimic exactly like Tennessee pink. So here's some examples of millwork resurfacing, which you would do with the 1/8 of an inch. I'm doing really good with the Imperial. I'm proud of myself. I keep always jumping back and forth to metric. Here's, I believe that's a BMW dealership. So we've got the polished Nero, the Nieve, and the Arctic White.
That's all 1/2 inch?
No, that would be all 1/4 of an inch.
6 mil.
6 mil. The walls might even be 1/8 of an inch. And just to know too, with the product, I get asked this all the time, trying to save a buck for interior walls. And should I order this much of 1/8 of an inch and this much of a 1/4 inch? Just know the cost isn't relative to the thickness. So ideally, especially me, I would love to see a 1/4 of an inch used everywhere, because I understand how strong it is coming from the cladding industry. I've done presentations where I hit the panel with a baseball bat and it doesn't break. I get a little bit nervous with an 1/8 of an inch, not necessarily once it's up on the wall, but it's because it's the installers that are going to hate me. It's not the funnest to work with that thin a material. We offer turnkey solutions for systems. So if you want to do elevated floor systems, and every manufacturer is different, but us specifically, we have elevated floor systems, exterior rain screen systems, cladding systems. We even have pre-manufactured systems for semi-translucent onyx. Please don't ask me for samples. Nobody can get samples. I mean, I don't even think North America has any yet.
We do? We do.
We do here?
No, not here. In the factory where they're being shipped here.
Yeah, it's just really hard to get. It's flying off the shelf. It's semi-translucent. It's a beautiful creamy onyx. And we have engineered systems so you can do partitions with it. Just basically put it up on the wall, plug it in, and you've got a glowing onyx wall. It's very beautiful.
So the partition system, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
What's the span you can go with the maximum span?
With the floors, I think we have up to 5 foot by 5 foot in the center support, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can
So
go
it'd be 2.5 feet, 5 foot by 5 foot with the center support.
5 foot by 5 foot length and width,
Yeah.
and there would be a center point in the middle.
2.5 feet would be the maximum distance.
It'd be a little more because it's actually in the center here, right? So diagonally. So if any of you remember Pythagorean's theorem from high school, or I don't even remember the word, but it'd be here. So that span would be a little bit more than 2.5 feet. Yeah.
So the partitions are polished both sides?
No, one side. One side. And then, so you'd have the back wall. So you'd be able basically to glow this whole wall, and then the other side of the wall would be inside the wall. So we have tile formats, standard tile formats, and you'll see those in all the literature there. So you can order those direct from the factory, and they're cut to size. They're meant to look like tile. They have a nice little bevel. It makes it a lot easier than trying to do everything on site. But again, with the material being so versatile, you can cut to any shape and size that you want to see. Again, that's a marriage between the designers and the fabricators. And let's just not try to make everybody angry, because then you end up with stuff like this. But again, I mean, jobs like this have to be done, and normally we do that in like terrazzo, right? And it's messy, and you close up half the area, and everybody gets mad because it takes forever. This entire project was done inside this square. Now, I don't want to talk about how hard it was to make these long, perfect points, and how many slabs you had to do to get it right, but the job ended up perfect, easier, a lot less messier, and a lot cheaper than it would have been with terrazzo. And again, that's all cut and fabricated on site. We're seeing a lot, more new things we never really thought of. One new one for me that's really big is I have an elevator guy banging down my door every single day of the week. Because most of us like to put stone in the high-end condos, and you really got to beef up the elevators for that. Or standard, and I've literally been told this, where we're building right now, we use stainless steel panels, they put a protective coating on it, the panels are all scratched, and the check hasn't even cleared for the installer yet. We can put this stuff up, and we don't even have to put protective coatings on it. They can have their tool belts on it and lean on it as much as they want. We'll wear down their hammer before they damage our material. We work with a lot of large corporations like DKNY, Apple, Starbucks, Nordstrom, Bloomingdale's. Here's a really nice application where it's laminated onto a door. This is that knife edge table I was telling you about. So it looks really sharp. And again, this is my area of expertise. And if anybody want to talk to me after, I will really gladly take questions and talk to you guys about it, because again, not only that's my job, it's my passion. So we do a lot of building facades, and it's a product that I feel good about. It's a product that I represent, and I chose to come to this company because I feel good about it, because I know I can put up buildings out there and they're going to last 67 years, that they can go in places like Miami and Dade County and perform to NOA standards and be able to take impact hurricane level strength winds and impacts.
Do you grade of an inch on those, or do you go half inch?
It all depends on the application, typically 1/4 of an inch. Yeah.
Mechanical fasteners?
We have everything. We have chemical fixation, mechanical fasteners, thin set applications, curtain wall, so we inset it into unitized curtain wall systems. And again, I can do that because my product is designed to conform to imperial sizing. And that's, again, I picked this job because I win 100% of the time to competitors, because we all know, for example, if we do a panel layout on the outside of a house, it's usually the panel layout is going to be panelized to the modulation of the windows or the curtain wall, and that's always imperial because they're standardized sizes, 7.5 feet, 10 feet, 5 feet, and I'm going to be able to do that with a lot less waste than somebody who is 1 meter by 3 meters. Most of the time. Not always. I like to think I win all the time, but just most of the time. So again, these are a little generic because I was supposed to be generic, right? Like I did the whole time in the presentation when you checked that little box. But I'm going to get into this a little bit more, just really briefly here at the end, because again, it's my area of expertise, and I want anybody here that might have interest in it to really sort of let it soak in. Because again, I think it's really important that we design buildings and do buildings that make sense, that are going to sort of take the test of time. I'm tired of seeing these new products come out that are inexpensive and they last 5 years or 7 years, when we can be doing products are we going to be doing applications with products that are going to be up on the wall for a permanent solution for the same price? And that's the most important part. Nobody ever believes that part. I beg people to give me drawings, meet their installers, and do a pricing exercise with them. Because nobody ever believes that I can do a product that's going to be a permanent engineered solution, and I can do it for the same price that you can do painted products, or stucco, or hardy. Sorry if there's someone here that's really in love with those products. Again, unitized curtain wall applications where we just inset it right where you'd put the glass. So you'd have a spandrel panel there, right? So wherever you have a floor slab or an insulated wall. You guys are not going to see this in Miami, but we do this a lot in the north where you have insulated panel systems. So we laminate right onto that. All right. So we'll try this out. Thank you, guys. I'm going to feel really awkward because this is my first time in my life holding a microphone. Does it look right? Yoni, come on down. So.
Hello. 2 questions. First, what is the price point? Price point on the product. And second, what is the lead time?
Okay, so the 2 most awkward questions. Right out of the gate. Price points are standard to a lot of your common stones and quartz that you're going to use. It's awkward because it's based on the performance of the product. It's not going to cost as much as you think it is. Again, my background is a little bit more exterior veneer, so I can talk about its price points compared to metal panels or EFIS or hardy panels. When compared to other stones, if we're talking real Calcutta, for example, you're at about, or you can get something that you can't even tell the difference, and it's about $2,000, so it's half the price. Yeah.
The lead time?
Lead time, so they have inventory right here in southern Florida. But for larger jobs like cladding or flooring, you're usually looking at about 6 to 8 weeks, which is standard for coming from Europe. That answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Anybody else?
You didn't hear the question.
Oh, you didn't hear the question? Sorry, I'll come over here and maybe they can film me now. So his question was, what's the price point and what's the lead time? So Omicron has inventory right here in southern Florida. So you have it on demand if you want to order 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 slabs at a time. If you're going to do a large order like flooring or cladding, it's typical what it would be from Europe. So 6 to 8 weeks lead time on a boat to get here. Unless you got a super rich client that wants to fly it here.
What's the price?
No, it's really expensive. You can't. It's really. No, it's so compared, for example, we were using an example, and all the different finishes are different. If you're talking, for example, the Calcutta, a normal slab would be about $4,000, $4,500. Well, this is about $2,200, $2,300. So about half the cost of stone.
5 by 10?
That's 5 by 10.
5 by 10.
Price in Calcutta.
Yeah, and for those that were wondering about exteriors, again, which is I'm a little bit more familiar with, and it's a super awkward conversation because I'm at the same price point as the commodity products you use, like brick and metal panels and EFIS and stucco. It's awkward because you don't believe me, and I get that. I get it all the time. Sorry?
If on the rare occasion it does break or you chip it, is there a repair kit or something that you sell that we can fix on without replacing the entire slab?
Sure. So her question was, is there repair kits if there is damage to the slab in case something ever does happen? The answer is no, because they never break, so don't worry about it. No, I gotta stop telling jokes. It's gonna get sick. You guys are gonna get sick of it. Yes, we do. That's the answer. We have color match kits, and how the material is gonna break. And in my experience, 99% of breakage has been with the thinner 1/8 of an inch material. You're gonna get cracks on areas, for example, like a floor tile where somebody didn't perfectly butter the bottom of the material, and you gotta glue it back in place. We have color matched epoxies that'll put it exactly where it was. Yeah. Oh, I gotta come right back.
I have a couple of questions. Can you fabricate different types of edges, like an OG edge, for instance?
I don't know what a G edge is.
The answer is no. You can do either an east edge or 1/8 east edge or a miter edge.
Or a beveled edge? No.
You can do a micro bevel, yes.
Yeah. And the other question is it only slabs, or do you do square footage, or do you do half slabs?
At this point, we only do full slabs and tile.
Yeah. And again, if you're worried, yeah, we do cut to size from the factory for larger orders if you're looking at tile formats. And you guys do just slabs here, right? What was your answer? Yeah.
Are there color locks? Because if it's made from natural materials,
yeah,
it must vary.
That answer kind of goes both ways. So your question was, is there dye loss? Do I have to worry about if I have material like it's damaged 10 years from now? It's weird because it's kind of a yes and no answer. Yes, because there is variances. Where we source our materials from are local and very common, so they're almost exactly the same. It's an engineered product, so it's going to be the same prescription over and over again. But yes, there are slight differences. But what I usually like to do is compare it to other products. So other products, for example, a painted product, where you're going to have something where, say, it gets damaged 10 years from now, the product's not going to be the same prescription as it was when it was made, because the UV now has changed the color and the tone of that product.
So let's say you're doing a job and you need multiple slabs. If you're going to be ordering stone of some sort, you're going to get them numbered, 1 to 3, so that they were sliced next to each other.
Yeah.
Does it matter? Can you order 2, send them to the fabricator, fabricator says, oh, we need 2 more slabs, get 2 more, and they're going to be fine? They might not be next to the slice, or...
Yeah, no, so your concern is, do you have to have slab 1, 2, 3, 4, just like you would with stone? And the answer to that is no. 10 years down the line, say if we're sourcing our kaolin or our quartz from a different quarry, then I have the concern, and that's my own answer, not necessarily Neil's answer, that there might be variances in color. I've never experienced variances in color, even with our bright cobalts and our melon greens, because again, the product and the finish isn't just a color, it's a prescription. So it's a combination of base minerals that make that exact color. So the answer is no, and you can order some now and some later, and it'll be exactly the same. I just want to emphasize this as well too. If, say, for example, you're talking about an exterior application where somebody has used the material and 10 years from now they love it and they want to use it on the rest of the house when they remodel or re-renovate it, you don't have to worry about color matching something that's been damaged by UV for 10 years. It's going to be exactly the same.
Is the pattern in the same location?
The pattern in the same location for like the Calicut and the Estatorio? Yes, but we offer multiple slabs. So we have 4 different slabs of Calicut or the Estatorio and 4 of the reverse. So you actually have 8 different slabs if you're using the full slabs. And again, those all book match end to end and side to side. Yeah.
Exterior vertical application, the sprinkler system, how the watermarks,
yeah,
the sulfur. How does this?
That is my favorite question so far, because it transitions me right into what I know best. So that's really important of a question, which is, and I'm going to sort of apply your question universally, is if I have a product that's something that's going to be affected by sulfur or air pollutants, is it going to discolor? Is it going to change? Is it going to get damaged? Is it going to absorb colors from certain things? In the north, I get a lot of salt. Can I take the product right to the ground? Because in the cold, we have this stuff called snow and ice in Canada. It's just outside our igloos, and the polar bears walk on it. But in order to be able to walk up and down the sidewalks and not break our necks, we put salt everywhere because it melts all the snow. But the problem is the salt dramatically eats up our buildings, our cars, everything. So we take a lot of concern in product that's going to absorb that salt because there's an effect called efflorescence. So liquid and salt get absorbed into the product. The sun hits it, the liquid absorbs away, and that salt gets stuck on the surface and it makes these big, gross white crystals. Same thing with sulfur if you have a sprinkler spraying on it. This product's not going to do that simply because it has a 0 water absorption rate. So it's never going to stain. And even then, working with exterior products, a lot of times, what's going on here? We have the problem of the designer, the architect says, hey, make sure you wash these panels every couple of years because if you just leave the dirt on it, it's going to stain. And they never, ever, ever listen. Go figure. And that'll happen. So if you put this on a panel on an exterior product, it's going to get dirty just like everything else. But whether they wash it 1 year from now or 10 years from now, the dirt's going to come right off. Any other questions before we jump into this? I'll just repeat your question.
Okay. Is this material able to be used on exterior as flooring for like a pool?
Yes, we've done the inside of pools.
Okay. And does it pass the coefficient of friction?
The coefficient of friction, that's a question I always struggle with too.
Yeah. Yes, it does.
Yeah, it does. And is that the polished as well?
Not the polished.
Not the polished. Okay. Yeah, so her question was basically, again, and I think we addressed this a little earlier, was the slip resistance. So, and I didn't know the answer, so that's why I'm repeating it. It does, all our finishes, except for the polish, does meet the slip resistance that you need for exterior applications around pools and things of that nature, except for the polish. But the polish can be treated with a slip resistant treatment so that it as well is slip resistant.
Can you treat that for bathrooms too, as far as bathroom floors, if you're going to do polish on the floor?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can treat it on bathroom floors for the interiors as well too. Yeah.
The process to make this material is what we call sintered, where they compress the molecules and heat them.
Yeah.
So how is that different than making glassos?
Making?
Glassos. You know what glassos is?
No, I don't know what glassos is.
Glassos is a substance that looks like Thesize.
Okay.
They sell it here. You sell glassos?
Glassos?
Glassos.
You know what glassos is?
It's a white glass product.
Well, it's a product that's made out of marble dust. It's heated to a very high temperature. It's made to look like marble, but it's glass.
Yeah, so her question is it like glassos where it's just heated up like glass? Or is it different, the sintering process? Like, what is glassos?
Is that the
Like crystal white.
Crystal white,
White
made out of marble.
oh, the process of how sealant is made, you're asking?
Right, it's made out of marble dust, heated up at a very high temperature.
Yes, yes, the answer is yes. It gets heated up and goes up to 2200 degrees Fahrenheit, and then it gets cooled down to negative 400. So it's the same, it's a very long
Similar
oven process, yes.
Right.
Yes.
It's made to look like Thesize.
Okay.
And it's a very hard substance and looks similar.
Yeah, it's probably very similar. I'd recommend hitting it with a screwdriver and seeing what happens.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But it's used to look like marble. And it's
Okay, yeah.
used in 3/4 inch, in very high-end residential installations.
Okay, yeah.
What I'm saying is, I guess it's a similar, what they call, it's a similar process to make this.
It's probably a similar process. Another thing to speak to the process, guys, and before I lose you guys really quickly, and we'll end this really quick, is another element of our product that might be different. And I have seen products that are very similar in sintering, but one thing that's unique about our product, just to speak about it, is that it's not created in a form. It goes through a belt process with just the dry ingredients. And the reason that's important, I know I'm going to screw this up even though I say this every day, I think it's Newton's second law of energy, which is everything has an equal and opposite reaction. And compared to to other large format ceramics or sintered style products, there's going to be trapped energy inside that product because it's done in a form. So when it gets stamped, that energy gets put. It comes out of the oven, it's nice and square and level. They put it in some boxes, they ship it across the ocean, and it's all warped and disfigured. And that's because there's actual energy trapped inside that product. Our product is unique because it is not, there's no formwork to it. It's basically just powder on a conveyor belt, and it gets compressed, and all the sort of, it almost looks like a knife when it's after it's been compressed on the edges, and we just cut that off, and away you go. You'll see it in the video when I play it through. Sorry guys to cut out the questions. I hope you guys can ask us more as we go through. I'm just going to finish this up really quick for those that were interested in asking questions. Our residential application, and these are all, these aren't static applications. You can apply these to all sorts of different ways in doing it. It's just the process that you have to pay attention to. So this is very common in the residential industry because again, you can do all the manipulation on site. So it's a two-step process where you have your temporary stick, which is going to be your two-sided tape, and then you're going to have your permanent stick, which is Dow Corning structural silicone. For those of you that are worried about a chemical adhesion holding your panels up on your house, every glass building downtown, not every glass building, many glass buildings downtown are held up with Dow Corning 983 structural silicone, and that's 1-inch glass. So people ask me all the time, are you nervous about putting it up with silicone? And I say not at all, because it's been done for 30 years with glass. Secondly, is going to be our mechanical fastener. These are very common for homeowners that are looking for something that's basically at a low bottomed out price. This is going to be very, very low priced at about your $15 a square foot range. And this is a mechanical fastener. So you're going to see those spaced at certain intervals depending on what your panel layout is. And this is a turnkey solution. So basically from your substructure out, we can sell you every single bit and piece to your installer. And lastly, finally we're getting there, like Steve Jobs taught us all, which is save the best for last. This is what I'm really here about to talk about. This is what my passion is and why I work for this company. This is both a mechanical and a chemical hybrid system for large commercial projects. It's completely non-combustible, ICC certified, and used across North America. It's deemed acceptable for unlimited use, as high as you want to go in Canada and the US. And it's a product that comes at a price point that's well below anything else I've ever seen. It's at the same basic cost point of doing metal panels that you'll see on car dealerships. And if car dealerships guys are doing it, it's got to be cheap. So again, this is universal for all applications. You can even do this for residents. I recommend this for a client that's really nervous in small applications about using the product because again, it's kind of a belt and suspenders application. You've got both a mechanical fastener and chemical fixation within there. We can offer a full turnkey solution basically from your substructure out, or we can work like we have with large commercial contractors that want to do their own subframing system, like here in Miami where you don't have to have an insulated wall, and offer different systems for the subframing. Don't ask me about those colored panels. I'm the very exciting beige right next door. I get asked that all the time. We got to make that, Mar, if we're going to keep those in the project. So again, we're just going to bounce through the pretty pictures here for the large commercial projects, both interior and exterior. Here's the Calcutta slabs we talked about that are both book match side to side and end to end. There's a lot of slabs there. Oh, reconnect your Bluetooth. This is the onyx here. This is the best we're going to get to a sample. And what I want, this is a few things that I want everybody to take a look at when we go outside here in a second, is this pulpris here in the polished. In my opinion, again, having sold products of all different shapes and size, this polished is the nicest product I've ever seen in my life. And you can hold me to that. When you see that in a countertop, and I've got the pictures in my cell phone, I've literally never seen something as nice as that. And I'm so jealous that I did my kitchen in the Iron Series. For those of you that are American, this is béton in French for concrete, not béton. Okay? You've got your cement looks and concrete looks, which are very common if you use large format fiber cement products. And this is probably our most popular series. This is the Iron Series. So then you've got Iron Blue. By the way, Mar, we're going to get sued on that. Corton's a brand name. And we're kind of dwindling to the end here. Our Timber Series. And the last thing I want to touch on is just this. So you guys will find that in the small little 3-page brochures that you have here. So when you are requesting samples and colors, this is what's available. This is sort of the matrix on what's available and what colors and what finishes. Okay, guys, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate everybody listening. So just really quickly, before we go inside here, look at the slabs.